Hello, this is Kim Coco, founder of Swagtail. Today's blog post is entitled, How to Start a Yoga Class, The Power of Beginnings. Many conversations today are focused on the how-tos of yoga, such as how to build a business, how to relate to students, and how to create. Well, this article is titled, How to Start a Yoga Class. We're really going to dive into the importance of beginnings and why it's essential to leverage the newness in those time periods to provide maximum impact for your students. Thanks to the book When by Daniel Pink, the author uncovers the hidden science of timing. By Daniel Pink, the author uncovers the hidden science of timing. Pink explores a wide array of topics and shares enough scientific data to make your eyes go cross. To simplify matters, I'll share some of his notes below and add some very specific applications and insights of timing for the yoga world. The importance of this consistently, providing us with periods of sunlight and darkness within each full rotation. As mankind, we have divided those periods of light and dark into hours, and we then further divide and configure our time based on the priorities of our lives. Similarly, we are given a set amount of minutes within each yoga class to bring about a transformative experience for our students. A basic teacher training program lays the groundwork for timing. You learn when to place poses within a sequence to warm up the body and prepare it for more difficult postures. This knowledge then translates into creating yoga to open into a peak pose or sequence, and then a set amount of minutes to counterbalance the work to restore an overall sense of balance to the body. There is power in timing, and it goes way beyond the placement of postures in a sequence. This is the first of 3 blog posts that will look at the elements of timing, from beginnings to middles to endings, so that you can lead smarter, better, and more purposeful yoga classes within any time limit. The power of beginnings. Starts matter because they set the tone for what is to come. This is incredibly true in the realm of yoga. Research shows that we, as humans, use temporal landmarks to navigate time. Just as we would use a physical landmark to determine our physical location, like the gas station is a block away from my house, we use time indicators to guide our lives. These temporal landmarks are unique to us and often boring days. Some of these dates are recognized throughout society, such as New Year's Day or the 4th of July. Some are more personal, such as your birthday, the start of a new career, or an anniversary. Temporal landmarks help us to start something new, or they give us the courage and confidence to start something familiar yet again with a new perspective. Temporal landmarks help you to take a big picture view of your life, focus on achieving your goals, think more slowly, guide your life with careful deliberation, make better decisions, decipher meaning in your experiences, take inspired action, stick to a new habit, and much more. As a side note here, that is why we have Fresh Start Sundays here at Swagtail. Sunday is a recognized temporal landmark that gives you a chance to leave your old self in the past and start over for the new week ahead. Tools and insights in hand, you can then approach the next 7 days with more clarity, focus, and joy. While yoga classes are held every day of the week, not just Sundays, research has shown that you can infuse an ordinary day with personal meaning to activate a sense of starting new. Essentially, you invite students to do this each time they start a yoga class. The real beginning of a yoga class. Well, you might like to think class starts when you finish checking everyone in and the door to the yoga room officially closes. The reality is that it starts well before that for your students. Thus, the timing of your actions can be a powerful way in which to facilitate a feeling of belonging for those in your class. This can enhance their thoughts and emotions of you and of yoga as a whole. Plus, it can be a valuable building block to keep your yoga business growing. Here are some simple ways you can connect with your students before you begin to lead the class. 1. Arrive early. This way you can be organized, confident, and centered before students show up. 2. Clear the yoga space. Ring a gong or a singing bell to clear the area with sound, or light a sage smudge stick to alleviate smells. 3. Adjust the light. What mood do you want to set with class? Be energized? Do you want them calm from the get-go? The amount of light you set initially will set the tone without even saying a word. 4. Select the sound. Again, deciding whether music will be playing or not when students arrive will give an indicator of your energy levels, as well as your intentions for theirs. If choosing music, make sure it suits the time of day, type of class, and focus for your class to start off with a sense of congruence for your students. Note, playing rap before a yin class might give off the wrong signal before you start your sequence. 5. Ask questions. When you get to know your students before you see their bodies in actions, they can sense that you care. You can also glean any information about injuries or practice history, especially if they are new to the studio. 6. Offer your time for conversation. Many locations have an employee or staff member or even a yogi on trade checking in students as they arrive. If this is the case, you can offer your presence to your students in a more personable manner. Maybe they have questions about their practice, or they just want to share about their lives. The willingness to listen is one of the most important traits of leaders, and it's a great way to build a stronger bond with your students before you start your class. 7. Start your class on time. When you do this, you show respect for people in your class and the time they have carved out to be there. 5 ways to start a yoga class. Begin in stillness. The purpose? Your students have full days and often busy lives. Carving out a few minutes of silence can allow them to process thoughts of the past and begin to transition into the moment. It can also be the space in which new thoughts arise. Above all, it gives them a chance to connect with their best selves without distraction and noise of anything else. Postures. Shavasana. There's none from the beginning. Balasana. Let the connection of the forehead stimulate the connection of the third eye. Or Sukhasana. Use the groundedness of the sitting bones and length of the spine to set the tone. Ideas to implement. While there are endless ways to implement stillness, here are a few to try out. Notify your students when they walk in the room that there will be silence until you start class. This will invite more stillness in for those who arrive early and might enjoy the reprieve. Announce your intention for stillness, combining it with a short reading about the power of silence before inviting them to be still in their bodies. Have soothing ocean sounds playing in the background. Sometimes absolute stillness can be challenging for those who have been around lots of stimuli all day. The sound of ocean waves is a calming noise and can relaxation response in the body. This greater sense of ease can prepare them mentally for any physical exertion that is to come. Pranayama. The purpose. Using regulated breathing techniques is a focused way to begin moving the prana or energy throughout one's being. When you instruct students to focus on the breath, they are invited into a deeper sense of awareness of their current mental and physical state. This is constantly changing, so tuning into what is going on in that particular moment can create more clarity about how they could best approach their practice. Postures. Again, you can have posture taken, yet a long, tall spine can help facilitate a deeper breath. Please select a seated position that matches the duration of time you expect your students to breathe there. Said another way, if you want to have an extended pranayama portion at the start of class, select an easier posture or one students can sustain with more physical ease. Examples include Sukhasana, Virasana or Vajrasana. For the experienced, Padmasana. Ideas to implement. The ideas suggested below are just that, suggestions. You want to look for them. Perhaps invite them to find a count that suits them if what you are instructing does not fit their needs. First, breathe in and breathe out fully without any conscious changes to the breath at first. Many times we attempt to force change in our lives. Embracing what is just breath invites a more organic approach to the breath and the body movement. 3-count inhale, 5-count exhale, or any ratio where the exhale is longer than the inhale. This is great for an evening practice to begin to calm the body from the events of the day. body from the events of the day. Use some of Riti pranayama, in which the inhale, exhale, and retentions are all the same length. For example, you could inhale to a count of 5, hold for a count of 5, exhale for a count of 5, and hold the breath out, mantra or other invocation. The purpose. The seed mantra Om is made up of 3 syllables, A, U, M, and phonetically translates to A, U, M. This represents all aspects of sound and creation, and invites students to connect sound and creation, and invites students to connect with all aspects of themselves as well as the vastness of the universe. This can be used alone to harmonize the group, or it could be combined with an invocation to call on strength, guidance, or support from someone or something. Postures. Use any position in which the spine is upright, such as Sukhasana, Vajrasana, Tadasana. Ideas to implement. Chant Om 3 times together as a group. Never underestimate the power of this simple exercise. Ideas to implement. Chant Om 3 times together as a group. Never underestimate the power of this simple exercise. Play the Gayatri Mantra by Deva Premal, one of my favorite versions. This mantra invokes the illumination of the mind and might not offend anyone with particular religious ties, since it does not invoke a god or goddess. If you feel brave, perhaps you begin to teach it to your class, and you can all sing it together over time. Research the invocation to Patanjali, used in both the Iyengar and Ashtanga traditions. You might even check out the one used in a more recent lineage of class and translate them for your students. Dharma talk or inspirational reading. The purpose. While a Dharma talk refers to a short discussion about Buddhist philosophy, you can take the first few minutes of class, maybe 5 to 15 minutes, depending on the overall class length, to share your intentions or class theme with the students. This also allows their minds to chew on something philosophical while engaging the body in their practice. Postures. Any seated posture will work, as you want the group to be upright and engaged. Share one of your favorite blog articles, such as any of the class themes on the Swagtail site, or from others that connect with you on a personal level. Read some poetry, such as that by the Persian poet Jamie. Cross-reference yoga philosophy with other material, such as The 4 Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz, or The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. Open the side body. The purpose. One of my favorite yoga classes by Tiffany Cruikshank begins with a few slow stretches to open up the side body and prepare for pranayama. It's amazing how just a bit of movement before breathing can intentionally create new sensations around the ribs and lungs. Thus, students can experience a more vibrant encounter with their breath. Sample postures. Banana Asana, a yin pose. This is a supine version of Chandrasana, to expose each side of the body independently. Balasana, with a side stretch. Take 5 to 10 breaths on each side, keeping the hips heavy on the heels and the forehead connected to the ground or a block. Ideas to implement. Use any of the 3 postures above or any others that will gently guide students into their body. This can be a fun way to mix up the practice, especially if you have the time to breathe immediately after these poses. Infuse beginnings into each element of class. Midpoints of class are labeled on the beginning or endings of the yoga class. Thus, you can bring the element of newness to each pose in the following ways. 1. Take additional time to build each pose consciously from the foundation up, and let students know why the pose is constructed in such a way. This can shift the perspective on a familiar posture. 2. Place resting poses, such as Balasana or Shavasana, in between more active ones. This creates a brighter contrast in the body and breath as students begin a new part of a sequence or enter a new posture. Essentially, this helps get students to feel the same way as they would just starting a yoga class in each shape they take throughout it. Hold a pose or a series of poses for a minute each. This is a great exercise for simple poses that create the foundation for more challenging ones. Research has shown that you feel closer to your future smaller units of time, so use timed holds to form building blocks. This way your students can tap into their capability now and feel less intimidated to try more challenging poses down the road. Putting it together. Timing is everything, and you have the ability to control it when you take actions to create a more poignant, memorable, and powerful yoga class for your students. This starts with the steps you take before they arrive. You also set the tone with the postures you select for the beginning of class and how you choose to approach each sequential movement throughout the practice. With this level of insight and leadership, what kind of beginning will you create for your students? And how will you continue to give them a fresh start no matter where they are in their practice? Then, over the next few months, join us as we'll cover other timing-related topics, such as when is the best time to open a yoga studio? When is the best time to schedule a yoga workshop? When do I know I'm ready for teacher training? When do I join or leave a studio? And much more. For other great articles about business strategies, communication tools, and class resources, visit us at swagtail.com. Again, this is Kim Coco, founder of Swagtail, and thanks for listening.